Hello, this is Mystery Redacted, but you can call me Red since Mystery Redacted is kind of a mouthful. So today I'm drawing what I call alien romance because I'm not creative with titles. But I thought since, school periods back into action and all that I would talk about my younger self because, well, younger Red was kind of more awesome than me. So what little Red used to do when she lived back in her old home, that was 2 stories, the neighbourhood always knew Little Red as Little Houdini. Now if you don't know who Houdini is a famous escape artist. So you can imagine the kind of trouble I got into. Most notably is two cases that I had my great escapes. So this must have been when I was a bit, I would say about 4 or 5. I could walk and all that, but I still needed parent supervision. Now, my dad was meant to be watching me. Also, let's just say this, my mum watches my videos, so I am terribly sorry if I tell these stories completely wrong, because I don't remember them at all. But I was meant to be under supervision, but somehow I had gotten out of the supervision of my parents. And I decided, hey, I see Mum with her keys a lot to go in the car. I want to go in the car too. So Little Red had somehow gotten up high enough to get the keys for my mum's car. The next problem was the door that's supposed to be higher than me. Yeah, Little Red somehow got out of that as well. And she also got out of the gate, which is very high and doesn't have any gaps below. So that's why I say Little Red is much better than me, because I have no idea what she did. They were only aware of the absence of Little Houdini that's got out when a neighbour came over, knocked on the door, and was like, is that your daughter in the street trying to open cars with a key? So my dad rushes out, the gate's wide open. Who knows how Little Red got it open, but it's wide open. And Little Red is about 4 cars down the street trying to open it with keys. Now this would have been an excellent escape if it wasn't for one little detail. Little Red exited the building out of the back and went to the side, where all the cars were. But my mum's car normally parks in front of the house, so even if I went down all the street, I would not have been able to unlock any of the cars. The next little escape, it was a bit more embarrassing, but I've told it so many times that I don't really care that anyone knows about it because I just find it funny. It was during a time that I was meant to be changed, because Little Red still was not potty trained, but Little Red could escape. So, something must have distracted one of my parents during the time that I was changed, so I was left alone on the changing table. And Little Red decided, now would be a great time to escape. I want to have fun. I don't want to be on this changing table anymore. And so Little Red climbed down from the changing table. Once again, somehow got down the stairs, because we were in a 2-story house at the time, and somehow got out the door. So now Little Red was in the garden, and Little Red was having a fun old time. She was like, yeah, this is what I wanted. Now, here's a little tidbit about my dad. He likes BMWs, he likes them a lot, which meant that when we were living there was an old rundown Beetle that was in the garden. I remember it quite vividly because we were there for quite a while. But Little Red, of course, saw the little Beetle and was like, wouldn't it be great to get on top of it? I'll be so high. So Little Red, somehow, climbed on top of the little beetle. And now that she was on top of there, and she could see everyone, and everyone could see her, she decided, well, I'm going to show off my dance moves. So, when my dad finally came down to search for me, because he was just changing me, he left me alone for a second, and then I was gone, he found me dancing naked on a beetle. Not my proudest moment, but hey, I had somehow escaped, and my parents, to this day, have no idea how I did it. I have a lot of other stories, of course, because I was a very weird and non-understanding child. So we'll get into more of my childhood, of how I was pretty nuts. One thing was that I had a little bit of difficulty understanding things. It was normal. I just misunderstood things a lot and used very simple logic. What that meant was that, well, Little Red did not understand seasons. She did not understand that at a certain time of year it would get colder. No. Little Red said that if the sun was out, it was hot. That's all Little Red needed. Sun out, it was hot. So yeah, you can realise the problem I get into there, because I would demand my mother to put me in my summer dress, even though it was freezing cold outside. I asked her how she got around this, and apparently what she had to do was take extra clothes with her, because Little Red would not handle her saying, no, you have to put a jacket on. I was a very stubborn child. So yeah, she would just have to ask politely if I would like my jacket, if I would like my pants and all that. Here's another story about Little Red being stubborn as all hell. One time, Little Red wanted to go to the park with her dad and brother. I have a brother. This is so stupid. But she had to finish her meal before going to the park. Yes, finish the meal. And the meal was a bit of meat. Now, the thing is, stubborn Little Red didn't want to eat the meat. So my dad said, if you have one piece of meat and you swallow it, we can go to the park. Well, he said, if you have one piece of meat, you can go to the park. Red was like, all right. She opened her mouth and got the meat. Oh, that sounds bad. He put the meat in my mouth, pretty much. That did not sound any better, but we're rolling with it. So, there's Little Red now gets to go to the park with her brother and her dad. They drive there, and about an hour later, my dad noticed that, hey, Little Red's a bit quiet. Little Red's not normally quiet, she's normally very talkative and also smiling and laughing and all. And Little Red wasn't. So he went over and realised that Little Red wasn't opening her mouth at all. Very strange. And so he asked me to open my mouth, which I do, and the bit of meat he gave me fell out. Little Red decided she wasn't going to swallow it, she was just going to hold it. I believe if he didn't figure it out, I would still be holding it till this day. Because apparently Little Red was not having any of that. None of that. So yes, I was a very stubborn child. I do not know how my parents put up with me, because honestly, it's amazing. Little Red was very stubborn, and Little Red also could not be given naps. I was not allowed to nap as a child, because the thing about naps is that if I slept for even a millisecond, they would be up until 5 a.m. with me because I would not go to sleep. Of course, now as an adult, I love naps. Naps are great. But yeah, Little Red and her little adventures. She even went to camp. I went to camp. It was the last year that I was there, so it was like when I was 10. I went to camp. And I went to camp with all my friends, and I got really angry at the camp instructors there. You see, it was a camp that each of us was in our own little camp, in our own little tents, and they would do inspections, even though this was meant to be a fun holiday. But yeah, they would do inspections, and I was a goody two-shoes. I'm a goody two-shoes, I'm always a goody two-shoes. So, I was very unhappy when they came in to inspect our tent, and they found a candy wrapper. Now the thing was that it wasn't our candy wrapper. This was like a Starburst from the 80s. Like, it was really old, and of course didn't belong to any of us, obviously. But apparently, that didn't matter. What mattered is that we didn't clean the tent properly, and therefore we didn't get the neat badge for it, and I was very upset. I did not like the fact that I did not get the badge for cleanliness. If you're wondering now, you can give me all the awards you want. I'm not going to clean my room. But yeah, the camp was very fun, although I had a lot of bad moments in it because my friends were not the greatest. But it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. What I remember specifically is there was this contraption, I'll call it. What it was that you were attached to a harness, and you were put very high above the ground, and there was someone else manning this harness. And what you could do is you could either, jump off it and hit a balloon, you could dive or whatever. But the thing that is where Little Red is also very daring, and you cannot say she can't do something. There was a thing called the Fallen Angel. What the Fallen Angel was that you went up to the platform, you went to the edge, you turned around, so your back was to it, and you fell backwards. So you can imagine for a bunch of 10-year-olds, that was terrifying. But because everyone was like, no, don't do it, Little Red's stubbornness decided, I'm gonna do it on my first one. And so I did. And I did it repeatedly, getting scores until I got a 10. Because if you give me scores, that's another thing. If you tell me I can't do something, I will immediately do it. And if you give me a score out of 10, then I will keep doing it until I get 10 out of 10. Now, not so much, but then with Little Red, I was all over that. All over it. So yeah, it was very fun camp. We had canoeing and such, and diving from, the caves. It was very weird. I also got a lot of beanie teddies. That's the thing. That's the one thing that hasn't changed between me now and me when I was younger. I still love teddy bears. I got Pokemon teddy bears and everything. More stories. Let us see. I have a lot, as you can tell, because I was a very weird child that did weird things. I was also very imaginative. I have a lot of imagination. I still do, which doesn't help with daydreaming. Let's do the dramatic moment that got me on a well-behaved system and a a treat at the end of the week. You see, I had to be good every single day. I'd get a sticker, and then at the end of the week, if I was good all week, I could get a prize. But, as you can imagine, you only put on that system when you've done something terrible. So, here's what I did, which was terrible. I was in the middle of class. I was, like I said, a very goody two-shoes. And I was in the middle of class. And there was a group project to do. So you watched the video and then you answered the questions. Yeah, not very exciting, but Little Red was all over it because she's a goody two-shoes. Little Red was partnered with this person. I shall call her Amy. She was Amy B. Because there was another Amy in the class. So we had to take the initials from the end name to make sure we knew who we was talking about. Amy B was not as studious as Little Red. And that was not good in Little Red's eyes. So she sat down, got ready, got her pencil out and all that, and she asked Amy B, "So, what are you going to do on the sheet?" And Amy B said nothing. She was going to do nothing on the sheet. And so dramatic. Little Red was not happy with that. She was like, "It's a group project. We're meant to do it together. You're not going to slack off and just take credit for what I did." And Amy B was like, "Yes, I am." Now, this was when I was around 8, 9. And you see, I was a very happy child. But something cracked in the happy child. And when I say this is dramatic, I mean, honestly, I'm scared that Little Red was a psychopath. And not so much anymore. I've kind of learned. But before, Little Red was a psychopath. So, Little Red was not happy with Amy B. Because Amy B wasn't going to do any of the work. And Little Red, she had very simple logic. It was a group project, she had to do something. But Amy B did not want to do something. And so, Little Red took a pencil, a sharpened pencil, just nothing. And she did something which she probably didn't understand at the time, was very dangerous. She went and stabbed it between the eyes of Amy B. I know, psychopath. I'm genuinely surprised I didn't get juvenile or something for that, because Jesus. And she pushed it into her head. Now, if her aim was off, she could have stabbed out an eye. But no, she got right in the middle. Luckily, I looked up, and that's like the thickest part of the skull. So she couldn't have forced a pencil through the skull, even if little 8-year-old couldn't do that anyway. But yeah, psychopath. So of course, Little Red got in trouble. Now, what was the crime for literally pushing a pencil in between the eyes of one of your classmates? Yeah, you're probably thinking something worse than what actually happened. I got time out. Yeah, for pushing a sharpened pencil in between the eyes of a classmate, I was just sent to another room to do the work. But the thing was, here's the irony of the situation. When Little Red was sent off very happily to go do her work in the other class, sadly she had forgotten her pencil. Yeah, she had forgotten her murdering instrument. But that means that she couldn't do the work. And she cried because she couldn't do the work. And so when she came back to the class, she was crying. And she said sorry. She wasn't really sorry. She didn't regret what she did. She was just upset that she couldn't do the work. Yeah, like I said, psychopath. She was upset that she couldn't do the work. She said sorry and did the work during break. So as you can see, I was a very goody two-shoes. I was on another level of goody two-shoes when I was younger. But yeah, psychopath. Also, to this day, I know, because I looked on Facebook like quite a while ago, but still I looked on Facebook quite a while ago at Amy B's profile, and you can still see like little dent there in between her eyes. So yeah, I don't know how I made it last so long, but I did. Little Red School was kinda nuts. They were kinda nuts. Because here's the thing that they did. Was that you could only write in pencil. All years could only write in pencil. And that was until the teacher said you was good enough at writing to get a pen license. Yes, we had to get pen licenses. We had to go through a test to get a license to use a pen. I know, it's amazing, right? But anyway, Little Red, of course, worked for it. Worked hard to get this little pen, this little piece of laminated paper with her name on it, saying that she had the honour to use a school pen. They even gave us little like autographs pens that said the name of the school on it. Like, I don't know why I was so hyper focused on it, but I was. That reminds me of another award they did. They had ceremonies like every single I don't think it was every single day, I think it was once a week or something. Like at the end of the week they would have an assembly where you just pretty much sit in line for ages, and they go through a bunch of stuff and sing songs. Those songs. I can find some of them, not all of them, but I can find some of them, and man, some of them are just... They're pretty much brainwashing at that point, because I still remember them. And there was one that was just chanting school rules and going faster and faster. And that's all it was. There was not a particular rhythm to it. It was just a bunch of school rules and singing it as fast as possible. So yeah, assembly times. They also had some really weird songs and also some really Christian songs. It wasn't a Christian school, it was just a normal public school, so I don't know why they got all holy with us, but they did, and we sung Christian songs. Pretty much the only song that I remember that is definitely Christian, because I can't see how it's not Christian, is a song that's called He Has the Whole World in His Hands, and pretty much you just list things and say they're in his hands, and there was particular movement with it too, so it was like a very Christian Macarena, because it was very repetitive motions and you was pretty much singing the same thing, so it's a sing-along Macarena. There's also some really weird songs, some really weird one I remember that were just like, there was a song called Wouldn't It Be Funny, and it was just like, I ate that up. I loved that song, but all it was just saying things like, wouldn't it be funny if the grass was blue? Like, there was no inventive lyrics, there was no like message behind it. It's just, oh, wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if the teachers all wore pajamas? Like, there's no message behind it. There's no, like, be good in school and all that. It's just a song, like, wouldn't it be funny if that happened? Yeah, it'd be pretty funny. That's it. Be pretty funny if that happened. Yep. It certainly would. If the sky was green, it'd certainly be funny. Well, until you realise that's probably because of something dramatic happening. As you can tell, I use dramatics a lot to describe a variation of things. But yeah, there was also this boy at the school. We'll call him Michael. He's Michael now. Now, here's the thing about Michael, was that I did like him. He was like, I wouldn't say he was one of my close friends, but he was a friend. And Michael was very feminine. And I don't mean like, oh, he just acted feminine. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he wanted to be a girl. I'm pretty sure. The reason why I think that is because, one, he would only hang out with girls. He would not hang out with guys. He would only hang out with girls. Two, he would try and make his voice higher, which was really weird. And third of all, when I went to his birthday party, because I was invited to a lot of birthday parties, because apparently Little Red was very social, whereas now, you have to give me a very good reason to get out of the house. He would only be given, like, girl toys and stuff. Of course, here's the thing, and maybe it's an opinion on the world or something. Maybe it's just a bunch of nonsense. But Little Red didn't see anything wrong. It's only looking back that I'm like, yeah, there was definitely something going on there. But when I was Little Red, I was just happy to have a friend. I was friends with a lot of people. I was very social back then. And then I moved to France and that kind of flew out the window. Yeah, I live in France now. I'm not doing one of these in French. I don't want the French people to cry. But yeah, Little Red had a lot of adventures. Little Red did a lot of very stupid things. And Little Red did a lot of very violent things. Because the thing was that I wasn't like a violent child, but it was like I had moments in my life that I kind of snapped and went incredibly violent. Like, as soon as I snapped, I went incredibly violent. Just like the pencil incident. By the way, if you're wondering, she still invited me to a birthday party, so obviously she didn't think the crime was that bad. I don't think any of us really got the implications of how dangerous it was that I had tried to push a sharpened pencil into someone's head. So I was still friends with her. Amy B we just wasn't friends for a little bit, a little tiny bit, and then we were friends again. It was all okay. Oh, there was this one girl. She had the only defining quality I remember of her is that she has freckles and she was ginger. I don't know why I remember those specifically, but she used to hang out a lot with me. We'll call her Hermione, because. But yeah, Hermione was a very weird girl. You see, I was very popular in my school. I was a very popular kid. I was like friends with everyone. I didn't get bullied really, because I was a goody two-shoes, so no matter what you threatened me with, I would tell the teacher. I was a favourite of the teachers as well. And next time I'll tell you how I'm pretty much a manipulator. Even my mum calls me a manipulator, but not in a bad way. Of course, not in a bad way, but I am manipulative. But she was like, I guess she was my first fan. Even though the idea of having a fan at 8 years old was a very weird concept to me. It's a very weird concept to think of. But yeah, she was a fan of me. There's no way else to describe it. She would try and act like me. She would hang around me more, and she would just kind of tell me how great I was. So I wouldn't. It was fun hanging out with her and all that, but I wouldn't call her like a friend, because friends don't do that. She was more of a fan that was like hanging out with their favourite celebrity. I know, I sound very arrogant, but that's pretty much what it was, because she'd never criticise me no matter what I did. Like, one time I tried to pin her up against the wall because I wanted to show her how strong I was, and I was angry because of something. And she even came back after that. Man, I sound like an a-hole. I do. I sound like an absolute a-hole. I was very happy generally, and I was very, kind. I would share and all that. But I just had these moments. Probably because I didn't really understand emotions and how doing something was wrong. I didn't really get that. I didn't get a lot of things. But yeah, I would hang out with pretty much anyone. There was even this girl that I invited to my 10th birthday party. Now, what's so special about the 10th? Well, the 10th one, because it was double digit and a very important day, it meant that I could have a party. If you're wondering, yes, I did move to France when I was 10, but it wasn't straight after 10, it was later in the year. It was in the summer holidays, I believe. And my birthday's in May. Not May. I'm thinking of my mum's birthday. My birthday's in March, so. But yeah, I had a birthday party, and I had a big party. I invited everyone, including this girl that I wanted to be friends with. Apparently, they told me later that she actually tried to escape the birthday party, which before, when I was younger, it was heartbreaking, but now, when I look back at it, I was you could have just walked out of the front door. You didn't have to escape. It was what could we have done exactly? No, you have to stay here, lock her hands. We're just a bunch of kids and some parents and a DJ. There's nothing we could have done, really. Also, we had, on my birthday, I didn't really win any of the games that we had, except one, which was musical chairs. Now, the thing about musical chairs is Little Red is also highly competitive. So, Little Red and this guy, he was a great guy. I will call him Adam. Adam was a great guy. I liked him. I don't know if I had a crush on him particularly, but he was a great guy. I did like hanging out with him and this other guy that I will call Rory. So Adam and me were the last ones left. And because the DJ was a bit of an a-hole, a little bit, I think he did it for kicks more. So the last chair was in the centre, and we weren't circling around it. No. We had to go up and down the other ends and go around little cones. Now, what the DJ did, because I think he just wanted to see the kick out of it, was that he waited until both of us had just finished going around the cone. And what did that mean? Well, that meant that, of course, we both had this intense stare. We were staring at each other, and then hell broke loose. We both ran to this chair. Now, the thing I did, which Adam did not do, and which led to catastrophe on his part, is that when I was close enough, I determined I can jump from here. So I jumped and landed on the chair. And that caused the chair to slide into Adam. And then Adam, of course, fell. And the whole entire audience that had been watching us play musical chairs just all collectively goes, ooh! And then some parents finally come to see if Adam's alright. He was alright, he was laughing, but yeah, that was the most deadly musical chairs that I have ever been a part of. But yeah, I think that should wrap it up for the video. Those were just some stories about Little Red and her little adventures. But of course I will tell more stories about when I was a bit older and still incredibly weird. But yeah, Little Red and her little adventures. Do you think you would be friends with Little Red? Because honestly, looking back at it now, I'm not sure if I would be friends with Little Red, because she seems quite a dangerous person. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Ta-ta!